6 o'clock. At this time, I'll call the Perry City Council regular meeting for March the 16th, 2021 to order. We have a quorum. Item 3 on our agenda is the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend Willie King will lead us in the invocation this evening, and Mr. Riley Hunt will lead us in the pledge. If you would stand at this time.
Everybody, yes, please. Father God, we thank you so much for Jesus. We thank you, Lord, that you give us wisdom and knowledge how we conduct ourselves. We want to thank you now for our council meeting. We actually give us wisdom and knowledge as we go through what we have to do for our community. We want to thank you and we want to praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item 4 is recognitions and presentations. Item 4A is Clover Wine Merchant application. A representative of Clover Wine Merchants will be attending the council meeting to present their application. Is there someone here from Clover Wine that would like to address council? Would you please come to the podium and identify yourself and your address, please?
Thank you so much for your time. My name is Lynette Tomlin with Clover Wine Merchant, 970 Carroll Street, right downtown. My main purpose for the pop-up was that initially we would have it at, with the Dogwood Festival, which typically is downtown. Being that it is not downtown this year, I still would like the opportunity to promote my business just a little bit more. I know that Bodega Brew is having their, or outside next to Bodega Brew, they're doing the axe throwing, which draws a lot of attention over there, which is great. Even though I'm just right around the corner, a lot of my neighbors on Carroll Street are closed during the evenings. Having the pop-up just invites people just a little bit more to say, hey, we're still here and we're still open, even though Dogwood is not downtown this year.
Council members, questions relative to the request? As I understand, just an explanation, and we talked about this earlier this evening. My understanding is that you were requesting 2 parking spots in front of your store to put up for, is it going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Is that what you're asking for, or?
Well, we're not open on Sunday, so it will either like Thursday through, we'll tear down Sunday, but if Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, tear down on Sunday.
Okay. Questions? Mr. Gilmore, what do you need from council? Is that a concurrence, or do you need a vote?
I would recommend that you have a vote. Okay.
Council members, you've heard the request from Clover Wine Company. That request being that they would have access to 2 parking spaces in front of their business, and it's the 10th, is it? Is that Saturday the 10th of Dogwood? Is that the weekend?
I believe so.
So this would be set up Thursday night on the 8th. They would have offering on Friday and Saturday, the 9th and 10th. And so, given that information at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the application as requested.
So
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the request will be approved unanimously. Thank you very much, and we look forward to it. Continue the great work down there.
Thank you, Council. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Item 4B is recognition of Squad 4. Chief Lynn?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, Squad 4, will y'all come forward, please? So a little while back, I sent y'all a notice, as I do periodically, about things that happen. And this particular one was about something that this squad did while they were on duty on night shift. They're on they're the ones out working while we're home in bed asleep. You know, they come to work this time of night, they work at 6 o'clock the next morning. And one of the things that sets Perry PD apart is the initiative that our officers display, and they do it on a regular basis. And so it's going beyond the call. And so without further elaboration, I've asked Lieutenant Sutcliffe, who is their commander, to introduce, to tell y'all about that and to introduce the squad to you. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. For those of you who may not know me or remember me, I'm Lieutenant Chris Sutcliffe. This is now my 24th year working for the Perry Police Department, and I absolutely love working here, working for the city. Couldn't imagine going anywhere else. My squad happens to be, at the time, this Corporal Josh Brown, Officer Skylar Bryant, Officer Daniel Layson, Officer Deborah Marbury, Sergeant Jacob Lasser, who I think you met the last time. He's got to know the sergeant. And anybody else, I think that's the whole shift. So pretty much what happened was on February the 25th, one of our citizens who lived in Oak Court had called about a suspicious vehicle in his driveway and didn't understand why it was there. Officer Layson responded to the call, ran the tag just to make sure it wasn't stolen or something wrong with it. Everything was fine with the vehicle. But instead of going back in service and saying, hey, it's good to go, you know, the car's not stolen, he went a little extra and ran some information checks on the registered owner of the vehicle, found out he had an open murder warrant in Dewey County. He was also multiple gang charges from that jurisdiction. Once again, the owner of the house didn't know who he was, said, you know what, I got some granddaughters and they kind of hang around with some guy from down there, but I don't know anything else about it. But it's good to go. Dewey County just wanted us to tow the vehicle and then go back in service. Sergeant Lasser and Corporal Brown weren't happy with that. They called me and said, you know, T, I think if we put a little surveillance on the vehicle and wait, this guy might come back, especially if it's toward the end of our shift where a lot of people get ready to go to work, he might come back to get his vehicle. So they hung out in the area, took up some positions of surveillance for about 2.5 hours. We stopped several vehicles that came in the area, saw us and left. Back over and made contact with the original owner and said, listen, these are your granddaughters and they're hanging out with the guy that's got an open murder warrant. You know, you need to be concerned about their safety. Is there any information you can give us? And he said, well, there's a house on Bonner Drive that my granddaughter hangs out at. And when Corporal Brown and Sergeant Lasser and Officer Layson got there, the suspect was literally walking out of the front door to the driveway of the car. They were able to get out and use a show of force, and he gave up without incident and taken into custody. I like to sit there and take some credit for it, but honestly, it was Sergeant Lasser, Corporal Brown, Officer Layson, Scott White, we all came together, but their idea was, you know what, let's not just call a record and have the vehicle towed and go back to service. Let's hang out for a while and see if we can't get them. And sometimes things go right, and he was taken into custody. So it makes me feel proud to know that they have officers that work, you know, with me, and we would go above and beyond to do what needs to be done. So thank you very much for having us come here. If there's any questions, we'd love to answer.
First, I'd just like to say thank you for the outstanding work. I'm sure Dewey County appreciates the work that you did, but it demonstrates the quality of force that we have here in Perry that goes the extra mile rather than just having the car towed and forgetting about it. So I personally, as mayor, would like to say thank you to each and every one of you for all that you are doing and have done for us, and that is an outstanding performance. We really appreciate that. Council members?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Was your canine involved?
She was not that night. No, ma'am.
But the look on his face when he saw what was going down was quite funny. He had no idea that we would know where he was at, and it was amazing.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate all the hard work that you put in each and every day.
And thank you for the recognition.
Item 5 is community partner update. 5A is Mr. Jim Marquardt with the perry-ga.gov County Airport Authority. Is here to update council on activities that are going on at the airport.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I appreciate very much the opportunity to fill you in on what's going on at the airport, what's new and what we've been doing. And I think we've got some slides somewhere. Currently, right now, members of the Airport Authority representing the city of Perry, we have Billy Gerald, Bill Lavender, and Dr. Marshall Parker. We have 4 from Houston County, Dan Wilson, Dr. Perry, Ned Sanders, and Jeff Burkhardt out of the Guardian Center. There's 4 areas I'd like to cover real quickly, and just to fill you in on a little history of the airport for those of you that may not know it. Take a quick look at our operating budget. What exactly is general aviation, because we are a general aviation airport, and how we're an economic engine both for the county and for the city. It was established in 1942. It was a little auxiliary training field called Myrtle Field. That's where Myrtle Field Road comes from. It was transitioned to the city of Perry in 1947 and ultimately became the Perry-Fort Valley Airport for a number of years. And then in 1994, we were able to, the state legislature put together the Perry-Houston County Airport Authority under the guise of city and the county. Our operating budget right now is about $632,000 a year. The cost of our goods that we're selling, the fuel and the other ancillary aviation products that we sell, about $352,000. That gives us a gross income in the $280,000 range. However, to run that airport, our annual expenditures are about $358,000. That gives us a shortfall right at about $80,000. And currently, we gratefully have the city and the county picking up our shortfalls. And hopefully, we'll continue to work in such a manner to make this airport self-sustaining before too long. So what exactly is general aviation? It's easily defined. If it isn't commercial, if it isn't military, it's general aviation. Those are the 2 criteria. Right now, there are over 5,400 general aviation airports in the nation. General aviation may support business, it may support industry, and it may be for personal use. 166 million passengers every year travel on general aviation aircraft. So to give you a comparison, Delta flies about 200 million people per year. So general aviation is, in and of itself, a small airline. We rank 7th right now in general aviation contributions to state GDP out of 50 states. So it gives you an idea of how important general aviation is to the state of Georgia. General aviation accounts for $219 billion in economic output and 1.3 million jobs nationwide annually. This is really interesting here, there are 19,601 public or airports in America. Of that, 5,400 of them are general aviation airports. So you can do the math real quick and you realize that there's a lot of private airports out there. We happen to have 3 right here in the vicinity of Perry and Houston County. There's 110 public use general aviation airports in the state of Georgia. There are 10 commercial airports in the state of Georgia. 339 private airports in the state of Georgia. We're 7th, we are the 7th leading state in general aviation job creation in the United States. So general aviation is a primary training ground for pilots. We've got a flight school out there that is very, very active, continuously flying. About 304,000 fixed-wing general aviation aircrafts in the United States. We've got 8,000 of those 300,000 right here in Georgia. We rank 13th out of 50 states in the number of aircraft, but we rank 6th in the number of hours flown by those aircraft. A big portion of that is the weather. It's a whole lot nicer down here in the wintertime than it is up in Michigan and Minnesota and states like that. 24 million general aviation flight hours a year, and the U.S. has more public use airports than any other country in the world. The 2nd ranked country, which is Brazil, and I don't know where that came from. I would have never guessed Brazil. Again, it's a primary training ground for most commercial pilots. We've got more GA, more general aviation aircraft than the rest of the world combined, 68% of it. So it is a big business here. We've got more pilots than any other country in the world, simply nearly 60% of all the pilots. So at any given time, there's over 5,000 aircraft in the skies around us. You wouldn't realize that until you take a look at an app called FlightAware. If you flip to the next slide, that's what the air routes look like at 3:50 on Tuesday, the 2nd of March. That's in and around Georgia and Florida. That's what they look like in the United States at 5 o'clock last Tuesday. So let's talk about the economic impact for a minute of general aviation airports in Perry in particular. We'll talk about the direct impact that the airport has. That is the FBO or terminal, what we provide there, the concessionaries, the government installations. Georgia State Police has a aviation unit out there. The flight school, as I mentioned, the maintenance operations that go on there, as well as business companies that are located there, and of course the taxes, ad valorem, sales tax, fuel tax that are generated. The indirect impact users of the airport out there are such things as the fuel sales that we produce, the fees that are paid for services, the restaurants that people go to when they come into the airport. They go to the restaurants, they go to lodging, they rent vehicles, they buy gasoline at the gas station. And of course there's the induced impact, which is things like the Guardian Center, where the Guardian Center will host training that spills over into the airport, where we're fueling a lot of the helicopters that are doing training there. Of course, it brings people in that use the airport, as well as use all of the facilities in Perry and Houston County. Local filling stations, Walker Roads, Chances Auto Service, Ace Hardware, these are all places that Perry Airport also spends money. Hartsfield accounts for 82,000 jobs in the state. Other commercial airline or airports, another 16,000. General aviation accounts for 4,000 jobs. That's 104,000 jobs in this state that's created by the airports. Total of $7.79 billion. That results in an economic impact of $73 million for the state. Here at Perry Houston County Airport, we've got a total of economic development. We've got 98 jobs associated with the airport. Total payroll of right at about just over $3 billion. We've got the multiplier, which is the taxes, the spending of all the people that work there, as well as all of the people that visit there, that come out and utilize the facilities of the city and the county of $7 million. That's a total economic output of over $10 million as a result of that airport. So it is an engine driver. Total state and local taxes are estimated to be about $377,000 out of the airport alone. Give you an idea of some of the things that are going on right now. We are currently expanding the apron. That is where we park the airplanes. It's a $3.2 million project being funded by the federal government. GDOT pays 5% and we have to pay 5%. We're also building a new terminal, $2.5 million terminal and corporate hangar that will house larger jet aircraft, larger aircraft that come into the airport looking for someplace. And of course, they get charged fees for being hangared in the hangars. On the horizon, we just got let me back up a minute. The airport and the terminal is being paid for by GDOT and SPLOST dollars out of Houston County. There's no federal funding in any of that. In the wings, we just got another federal grant for $250,000 to design a resurfacing of the runway. That will happen next fiscal year, starting in July. That will be about a $500,000 project to resurface the runway. We are also proposing to extend the runway another 1,000 feet south to give us a 6,000-foot runway. And hopefully we can get that accomplished within the next 5 years or so. We'd also like to look at building more hangars out there. We have a continuous waiting list of individuals that need hangars to put their aircraft in, and of course those are revenue generators. To give you an idea of some of the airplanes that show up at the airport, a lot of people think that there's nothing out there but very small little private airplanes that people fly around for fun. You can switch to the next slide. We do get large corporate jets that come in there. They fly in there to go to, we get executives that come down from GM, going to Bluebird and bus lines in Fort Valley. They come down to go to Purdue Chickens. They come down to go to Lay potato chips. We get charter flights out of there. We get quite a few different aircraft. At any time, our current apron, one of the reasons we're building a much larger apron there is the current apron is just too small. You can see we get pretty busy down there at that time. And we get the military aircraft that support the Guardian Center. That also brings in a fairly large quantity of fuel sales. I will tell you that our fuel sales this year is higher than they have ever been. We're probably running 12,000 gallons ahead of last year. I expect to hit 125 to 130,000 gallons of fuel sold at the airport this year. Look, I would invite you to come out anytime you'd like to come out and take a tour of the airport, walk around the airport. I'd be more than happy to take council members, take the mayor, anybody would be glad to come out there. We'd love to have you come out and take a look at the airport and see exactly what we're doing out there. I'll entertain any questions if anybody has any. If not, thank you very much, Mayor. We appreciate the opportunity to update you on what we're doing.
Mr. Mark White, we appreciate that. Council members, any questions about what's going on at our wonderful airport?
Just out of curiosity, flight school is 1 day a week, or is it a condensed 10 days straight?
Flight school operates 7 days a week, and when the weather is good, and it's up to what the student can afford. So a student that wants to get it done is flying 2 or 3 times a week. A student that's got to stretch it out a little bit more in order to be able to pay for it is maybe flying a couple times a month. But they have enough students that those airplanes are flying almost every day continuously. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there any other community partners that would like to update council at this time? Thank you. Item 6 are citizens with input. Are there any citizens that are this evening that would like to address mayor and council at this time? Thank you. Item 7 is a public hearing. Council members, this public hearing has been settled by negotiated settlement with Mr. Patel. And so, Ms. Newby, would you like to update us on that settlement?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This was a negotiated plea agreement with Mr. Patel and his attorney that involves 1 year probation. A failure to timely submit payments or reports would result in, suspension of his business license.
Questions, council? Thank you, Ms. Newby, for all your hard work on getting that settled. I appreciate it. Item 8 are review of the minutes. 8A, council members, you've been provided with the minutes for March the 1st, 2021 work session, the March 22nd, 2021 pre-council meeting, and the March 2nd, 2021 council meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to these minutes as presented? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate accepting the minutes as written by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 9 is old business. 9A is ordinance for the second reading and adoption. 9A1 is the second reading of an ordinance for the rezoning of property from MUC Multi-Use Center to M1 Wholesale and Light Industrial. The property is located at 311 South Street. The tax map number is 0P0350010000. Mr. Wood?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this is a request to rezone property on South Street. It's directly across the street from existing M1 or light industrial zoning district. The applicant, to my understanding, intends to develop this as additional warehouse and distribution uses. The Planning Commission and staff both recommended approval with a condition relating to the required landscaping that would be necessary on the site, more as a notice than anything else. It is a requirement. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Council? Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address Mayor and Council at this time relative to this ordinance? Could you give us your name and address, please?
I'm Scott Free. My office is 1101 Washington Street here in Perry. I live in Perry at 211 Walton Chase in the farm. I really don't have any questions. As far as the ordinance goes, I guess we just follow what else is required.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Council members, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance as presented by Mr. Wood.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please let the record show that the ordinance was approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 10 is any other old business. 10A is any other old business from the mayor. I do not have any. 10B is any old business from council members. Ms. Bonnie Grace? Dr. Albritton? Mr. Hunt? Mayor Pro Tem? Ms. Peterson?
No, sir.
Mr. King? No, sir. Thank you. 10C is any old business from the city attorney, Ms. Newby.
No, sir.
10D is any old business from the city manager, Mr. Gilmore.
I have not.
Thank you. And 10E is any old business from the assistant city manager, Mr. Robert Smith.
No, sir.
Thank you. Item 11 is new business. 11A are matters referred from the March 15, 2021 work session and the March 16, 2001 pre-council meeting. Council members, I believe we have one item. That would be 11A1. And that is a resolution to amend the City of Perry Personnel Management Systems Position Classification Plan. Mr. Gilmore?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, in your packet is a resolution that follows up on discussion you had at your work session yesterday, in which the Perry Fire and Emergency Services Department is requesting to do some reclassification of their positions as part of their formal succession planning process. We recommend to you to approve.
Council members, questions to this change that we discussed yesterday in our work session? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution to amend the City of Perry Personnel Management System Position Classification Plan as outlined by Mr. Gilmore.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the resolution was approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Gilmore. Chief, sounds like you got a little work to do.
I do.
11B are resolutions in introduction and adoption. 11B1 is a resolution for DDRLF for the Muse Theater. Ms. Harden?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We do have a couple illustrations for you here on the screen. It's the Muse Theater back in the 1930s, as well as what it looks like today. And the City of Perry Downtown Development Authority has recently been awarded through a private-public partnership to be the flow-through entity for 2 state loan programs for $160,000 each. The borrower is Okmulgee Developments, and this is a rendering of what it will look like for acquisition and renovation. They're going to bring it back to an event space with a bridal suite for weddings, venues, etc. They anticipate it'll be about a 6-month project, and they do anticipate closing on the building on this Friday. So they were waiting to find out from the state if they did have this gap financing. And then the last slide does show how we stacked the financing, and that the DDA was able to fund through the private-public partnership 40% of the project. So we're super excited about that. For the downtown revolving loan fund and the resolution before you tonight, the Department of Community Affairs through the state of Georgia requires a city resolution acknowledging that you're aware of this project and that mayor and council is supportive of it.
Council members, questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution for the DDRLF for the Muse Theater.
So, second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the resolution was approved unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Harden. We wish you the very best on getting that done.
Thank you.
It'll be quite an improvement to our downtown. Item 12 is council member items. Ms. Bonham Grace, Dr. Albritton, Ms. Hunt, Mayor Pro Tem, Ms. Peterson.
Yes, sir. I wanted just to touch base again. I know we're looking at returning all of the picnic parklets to downtown. Are we moving forward on that? Some I know have been removed and they're needed back in their locations.
The one parklet as it stands right now that will not be going back is the one that was originally placed by Hazards on the Green. The reason that parklet was removed was a safety concern from when you had people out there, particularly in the evenings, and you had traffic turning off of Ball, making that turn going in on Carroll. And there was a safety concern, so that we have removed that parklet from there.
I'm just surprised at that rationalization. That was not my original understanding of why it was removed.
That is, because we went back, when this came up in discussion before, we went back to research on why that was done, and that's the reason.
Okay.
Mr. King? Okay. Mr. Gilmore, do you have anything else for us this evening?
No, sir.
Ms. Newby?
No.
Mr. Smith?
No, sir.
Thank you. Item 13 are council member items. I'm sorry, 13 is department head items. I'm a little bit behind there. Ms. King? Mr. Worthing?
No.
Mr. Wood, anything this evening?
Yes, sir.
Chief Lynn, anything additional?
I don't have anything additional, but I just want to say thank you to y'all again for recognizing our officers' outstanding work. We try to make sure that we let them know internally, but it's always good for them to hear from y'all, and thank you for that.
Thank you. Chief Parker?
Nothing major, Mayor, just everybody keep your emails open, and I'll update you on the weather as I get further information.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you doing that. Ms. Clark?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Swan?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. As I mentioned yesterday, I just want to promote our special needs Easter egg hunt again for our citizens watching online. It'll be Saturday, April 3rd. Registration starts at 9, and we'll start the Easter egg hunt at 10. So I just want to give another reminder. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Fisher?
Nothing.
Ms. Warren, anything from the city clerk's office?
No, sir.
Ms. Harden, anything additional this evening? Thank you. Ms. Gunn? Ms. Thomas, anything from city manager, downtown manager? I'll get it right here in a minute. Thank you. Item 14 are general public items. Is there anyone here in the general public that would like to address council this evening? Yes, sir.
Mayor, I just wanted to really, really quickly thank the fire department and the police department today. We had a large tractor trailer truck dumping gravel on our new apron that we're building out there, and it tipped over. And I will tell you, they responded before I could get out of my office and get out there myself. It was a phenomenal response. All the equipment was needed. Thank goodness the driver was not hurt seriously, and all is fixed and back to normal. But man, did they get out there fast.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Thank you for all the response that you guys did out there helping them with that accident. So it again demonstrates the commitment on the part of our police department as well as our fire department for outstanding work. So would you pass that along to all of your firefighters and policemen, please? Sir, appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Item 15 is mayor items. I'd like to remind everybody that our next meeting will be our work session on April the 5th. It'll be here in the event center at 5 p.m. Then on April the 6th, Tuesday, we'll have a pre-council meeting at 5 o'clock and the regular scheduled council meeting at 6 p.m. that evening. All of our meetings are open to the public, and we would like your interest and participation in those meetings. If there's nothing else to come before us, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of real estate. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. All right, we are in executive session. Thank you.